Uh, I think the problem that a lot of us get into is analysis paralysis. Now we have to do our research, but if it is so crippling that it doesn't allow for us to ever make a decision to actually move forward, then it's counterproductive. In order to reach our goals, we have to make decisions and take steps, and often steps and leaps of faith toward the goal that we have set for ourselves.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm Kristen, and I'm here with Colter Hansen, who is a full-time real estate and business investor focused on acquisitions, development, and long-term wealth creation. Thank you so much for being here, Colter.
Thanks for having me, Kristen.
So you've built a really impressive portfolio. You got into the game in 2009. Tell us all about how you got into it.
Well, I had talked to lots of family friends and had developed an interest, knowing that real estate was one of the avenues I wanted to use to be able to build wealth and passive income. And in 2008, my wife and I got married, and then quickly we moved to Pocatello, Idaho, and we moved into a house. It was actually a duplex, and that duplex was actually in foreclosure. And so I was working with the owner, and I was working with the bank, and I was trying to get that bought out of foreclosure, and working a short sale and working with loss mitigators. And ultimately, I failed at getting that deal done. It foreclosed on the owner, and my wife and I received a 3-day eviction notice. And in that process, and going through my mind of, hey, you know what, I need to figure this thing out. We got moved out in 3 days, so that was good. And found a place. Really fortunate. We weren't just thrown out onto the street, which it definitely felt that way. And so a few weeks later, my dad called me and says, hey, let's go to this real estate thing and learn about real estate. I know that you want to figure it out. I did that. In that process, I dove in, got educated, wanted to learn about real estate, wanted to know all of the tactics. In that process, I set a goal that I would buy one property every single year. And in doing that, starting in 2009, I've been able to buy one and up to 40 plus doors in any given year since 2009. And that was really the kickoff. Like, I knew that I wanted to do it. I didn't know what I didn't know. I lost out on one deal. It impacted me and my wife that were newly married. And ultimately I was like, I'm going to figure it out. And I believe at this point we figured a few things out with a lot to learn still.
Absolutely. I mean, that's so cool. You were able to kind of bounce back from a rocky start into it, which I think a lot of people face that, but then give up. So what was kind of the turning point where you really wanted to keep with it?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Well, you think that I would have quit after a couple of raw deals that didn't go as well in 2010. And in those deals, I call it my Harvard cost equivalent education. We lost in the six figures on a couple of deals. We bought them at an auction. We fixed them up. They were beautiful properties. And ultimately, the market in Seattle, Washington just wasn't ready for these two properties. Nothing was moving at that time. And, we ended up needing to sell those for what we owed on them, not what we were owed, what we had put into the properties, but short of definitely the amount of cash we put into them. And so that could have been a turning point. But I think it really just comes down to, either my determination or my stubbornness. It depends on who you're asking, as to whether I would continue on with, this dream of being able to develop a real estate portfolio.
Right.
And so my wife and I had some, pretty frank conversations, and like, hey, you know what, is this for us? And how are we going to manage this? And now we're students still, and figuring this whole life thing out. Now we're in a bunch of debt, and we're going to pay it off. So now let's figure it out. And in 2011, we bought another property. In 2014, 2012, we bought four, and we just kept accumulating. And so the turning point definitely I had opportunities to step away.
Right.
But it was for us. We want this life.
Absolutely. So as you were building your portfolio, how important was it to, do your research, and how important was it to just learn on the job?
I think the problem that a lot of us get into is analysis paralysis.
Mhm.
Now we have to do our research, but if it is so crippling that it doesn't allow for us to ever make a decision to actually move forward, then it's counterproductive. Um,
Mhm.
in order to reach our goals, we have to make decisions and take steps, and often steps and leaps of faith toward the goal that we have set for ourselves. That doesn't mean that you're going to be able to uh, eliminate all uncertainty, but as we sharpen the saw, we can definitely prepare ourselves to cut the tree down. But if we never take the saw to the tree, we'll never accomplish the goal. If we're trying to down the tree and that's the goal, we have to sharpen the saw. Um, and but there's a point when it's sharp enough in order to chop that tree down.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people, the more they learn, the more they get nervous and they almost know too much. I feel like there has to be kind of a part of you that has the optimism still that it's going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's there are steps in our decision making as business owners or as investors, and we start out in an uninformed optimism. Then we enter this stage of informed pessimism, and if we can get through that stage of informed pessimism, then we can re-enter the place of optimism. But now it's an informed optimism, and I think that that's really important for us to, accept that there are going to be stages in either the transaction or transactions where we're going to be informed. It just might have made us pessimistic because it wasn't the perfect scenario that we were looking for. And if you're looking for perfect scenarios, investing probably isn't for you. Um, you have to be adaptable and be okay with a few curveballs. But there are also ways to prepare for those curveballs. And it's, again, taking steps. So some of it's on the job. To come back to your original question is like, yeah, we have to do our research, but some of it is just in the process of doing the work and making the decisions and proceeding forward and learning in the process, and not being afraid of learning while we go.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Absolutely. I think that's really good advice and kind of finding that fine line. So what's interesting about how you built your portfolio is you set out to buy one a year. It seems like you grew in a very thoughtful way and a very manageable way. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, that goal set in 2009. Obviously, I was starting from zero. I had nothing to my name, and then in 2010, I had much less than nothing. We went in the hole, but setting that one goal and starting in 2009, and knowing that we wanted to buy one property every single year was a meaningful accomplishment, especially because of how the goal was set in 2008, 2009, when we knew that we wanted a real estate portfolio. But then every time we conquered that goal again the next year, it was this new sense of accomplishment, like, hey, you know what? We did it. And now why can't we do it again? So doing that in '09, 10, 11, 12, all the way to 2025, um, it's every year I know that I'm doing at least one thing in the year, and I can check that off the list and I can say, yes, mission accomplished. And that's also opened me up to a lot of other opportunities. My belief and my mantra has become, the opportunity of a lifetime comes around but once a week.
I love
And
that.
so, it, yeah, it's just, but that's my mindset now. And I think that as I share, my story, or as other people share their story, I think if we can all enter into this mindset of, hey, you know what, the opportunities are abundant. It's just a matter of me being open-minded enough to finding what those deals are, where they are, and then being willing to do the work to make them happen and add them to the portfolio.
Absolutely. I think that's such a good mindset to be in. Yeah, the once in a lifetime opportunities don't exist. You have them all the time. I love that. And so you started in 2009, you've been investing ever since. You've seen so many ups and downs in the market. What have been kind of your insights from the last, several years, and where do you think we're at today?
So obviously we've seen, COVID influenced real estate markets, an interest rate market that was crazy low in my opinion. And the more that I visit with economists and I ask them like, hey, you know you know, what is normal in the market? And, where do you think that it's going? Well, it's all everyone's best guess. But from like an interest rate standpoint, as the quantitative easing, enters the marketplace and we reduce the interest rate and we allow for an inflow of additional capital into the market, um, uh, and we also introduce new options in the market, like a 40 or a 50-year mortgage option for the consumer. It's obvious that our regulatory environment is wanting for more capital to enter the market so that it can increase the ability for the consumer to buy. Um, you also have, many in DC that are real estate investors. And so they are personally interested in influencing their own real estate portfolio. And so I think they're doing everything that they can to protect the market, which, I mean, all politicians, I would think, should be doing that in the interest of general public. Um, but I think that, what they're looking at is an opportunity to continue to have capital flow into the market, not see this gigantic real estate crash. The market has definitely settled in the last year. And when I say settled, it means that um, the days on market are increasing all the time, or at least have in our market, and I've seen that in other larger markets. Is that the homes in the median and even in the high income categories, the days on market are increasing. And in our market, if it approaches $1 million price point, it's sitting on the market for 8 to 12 plus months. But now as capital is allowed to inflow into the markets, more so, you have interest rates that are easing. We're not going to get back to the 2 or 3% interest rate anytime soon. I think that would be irresponsible. But the economists that I've been visiting with, they say that a normal interest rate is around 7 to 9%. And if we're coming down to a 6% interest rate, I think that people should jump on that.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
They should be ready to buy, and also realize that because sellers have been sitting on the market for several months, or if not years, ready to sell their homes, and they've been waiting for the interest rates to drop, I don't know that they're going to drop any too quickly. And so making the decision to move right now and buy those homes, buy that investment property, is probably most advantageous for them to pull the trigger and enter the market, buy assets, add assets to the portfolio, and and start creating that wealth through real estate.
Totally. I mean, I think that's a really good breakdown. I think a lot of people are very confused and they don't know if it's a good time to enter. And I think, kind of speaking to what you were saying earlier, I think people kind of freeze and maybe don't enter. But it's good to hear like optimism around the market.
I'm very optimistic, but I can also be a little bit more optimistic. I think because of the mindset that I find myself in, and it's because I'm not looking for a quick turnaround win. I don't. I'm not looking for a 20 or 40 or $100,000 windfall of cash on a fix and flip. While those are nice, I'm really looking for the long-term wealth creation. I'm thinking 10, 15, 20 years down the road, and the kind of cash flow that I can create in passive income that allows for me to pay bills and go on vacations, throughout the year, and not just be like, hey, you know what, let's go and blow this 100 grand on a single vacation. And then, oh, wait, we got to go and do another fix and flip to do it again. I'm looking for the long-term solution. And that's where, if you can be patient, and 10, 20 years, any real estate that you buy right now, in my opinion, and on average is going to increase by, I think it's 3.7% on average in appreciation. You'll be okay in 10 to 20 years if you can
Yeah.
hold on to it and cash flow it in the meantime, but
Yeah.
I'm cash flow focused.
Absolutely. I mean, I love your abundance mindset. What are your tips for kind of getting into that space if you maybe aren't naturally like that?
I think that my abundance mindset comes from what they call it a recency bias. Um, and in recency bias, the philosophy is that if you have had a recent string of successes, or accomplishments that went as planned or as close to planned as you had thought, that you are biased toward the idea that you will succeed on the next one. And so I think that creates an optimism in us. Look, I've done everything from flip cars, buy cars and sell cars, to buy RVs and sell RVs, and, buy houses and, add them to a portfolio. But it doesn't have to start with the 40 unit multifamily complex that, is going to require $1 million rehab. And, you're going to have to manage contractors as a project manager for the next year in order to get that done. Like, pull the trigger on something. And if it's just buying a $3,000 car and flipping it for $3,200 and making a couple $100, that's a win.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have to be this overnight success. And I think that that's what we get in the habit of as humans. Like, it's just our human nature to say, hey, you know what? Because I thought of it, it will be. Now, it can be, it just doesn't happen because you thought of it. And I like I like a quote, and I will remember who it's from. But a lot of people won't get rich because they're not willing to get rich slow.
That's a really good point.
So it's just steps, right? We're looking for a subset of principles that are truths, and applying those principles and taking steps toward the kind of success or accomplishment that we're looking for. But it's slow sometimes. And most often it is slow, because if we're trying to push it too quickly, we're going to make mistakes. And, that's where people get burned. And that's what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah. I mean, I think you just gave such great advice. And I think that people, if you can kind of function out of a place of gratitude, you're more likely to see wins around you. And kind of to your point, success breeds more success. So kind of getting into that mindset, I think, is super powerful. Well, I think you've given great advice on people entering the market and people who are scaling. Tell everyone where to find you and how to work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm in Idaho primarily, but there's a couple of websites that I would suggest people go to. Some free resources on those. One is an analysis tool that we've built that's called Analyze360, and that's on analyze360.org. So there's that tool. It has everything from business valuation tools to fix and flip analysis, buy and hold analysis, BRRRR analysis, etc. And it's a free resource. We just want people to utilize it and put it to work and help make decisions in, how they can put real estate together. And then another one would be InvestRE360.com. So investor360.com. We'd love to have you go there and get in touch with us. At the end of the day, we want to work with more awesome people and be able to, grow and we buy real estate and we buy businesses. And if there's an opportunity of a lifetime that you want to talk about, then we would love to be in touch and look at those opportunities.
Love that. Well, thank you so much for being here, Colter.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kristen.
And thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you learned a lot and had a lot of good takeaways to maybe look at your business and your mindset a little bit differently. We will see you back next time. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.